Right then, it is the big one. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Howson. This is a tactical preview of how Manchester United can beat Liverpool this weekend at Anfield. And I think before we get into it, it needs to be said, Liverpool haven't lost in 67 games at Anfield. This is a monumental task. And before we get into it, I will say, if there's a draw on offer, I am taking that. And any United fan should be happy to take that. But there is a psychological element at play here. Beating Liverpool, being the team to break that unbeaten run at Anfield is massive. And it's such a potentially massive thing for United if they're able to do that and able to stay ahead of them in the title race over the next month or so. Then as the season starts to draw to a close, you've got that psychological thing in Liverpool's mind saying they came here and they beat us. You haven't got that inner confidence that they'll drop points, they couldn't beat us, we'll get more points over the next 20 games or so than they're going to get. So I think it can't be overstated how important getting a win on their soil, turning them over on their soil is. This is what this United team has failed to do so far this season. We did it quite well last season, but we failed to do that this season, which is turn up against the big teams. United have gone through a bit of a transition of being a very much counter-attacking side to a very much on the front foot sort of side. And I think this weekend it's time for us to return back to being a counter-attacking side. Absolutely shithouse our way through a win. Right then, let's have a look at what we're facing off against in admittedly quite a depleted Liverpool side. So United's form last 3 games, 1-0 against Burnley, 2-1 against Villa, 1-0 against Wolves. We're putting together a very tasty run of games together. We've got Fulham, Liverpool, Sheffield United following this game. Liverpool, since they beat Crystal Palace 7-0, 4-1 against Villa in the FA Cup against the Aston Juniors under-14s. 0-1 against Southampton, 0-0 against Newcastle, 0-0 against West Brom. Not the best of form for them. On the back end of playing United in the league, Burnley, United in the Cup, and Spurs. Tricky fixtures for them. Fixtures that this Liverpool team would have probably navigated quite well a year ago. At the moment, maybe not so much. Predicting the 11 is going to be minging. Jurgen Klopp has used the 4-3-3. He loves it. He's used it 15 times out of the last 17 league games so far this season. I think he'll use it again on Sunday. Alisson will start in goal, and I think it will be the usual fullback pairing of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson, and I hope it's Trent that plays at right back. In central defence, Van Dijk and Gomez are long-term absentees, and Matic is seemingly a doubt, so it looks like it could be midfield duo of Henderson and Fabinho likely to fill in again, and this is where United's chance has to come with these. Thiago's expected to make his full Anfield debut with Wijnaldum playing alongside him, and it'll either be Oxlade-Chamberlain or Curtis Jones slotting in alongside as a third man. I think he would go with the experience of Oxlade-Chamberlain, considering he's likely to be lacking positional experience elsewhere on the pitch. In attack, Salah, Mane and Firmino, as Jota is also a long-term absentee. Now, what they've got going for them is that they could probably field an 11, which is only missing 2 players. The problem is it's missing 2 players in key areas. And by missing 2 players, I mean from their usual 11s, it's missing 2 players, which is the 2 centre-halves. Now, Henderson and Fabinho have been phenomenal for them, and it's literally just the way that, apart from in defensive transitions, the way they rotate and hold the ball, it's actually not much different to have 2 midfielders there than to have 2 centre-halves there. Where it becomes key is defending set pieces and defending on the transition. That's where inexperienced positionally players can get caught out, and that's where Manchester United can take advantage. We have to go on the front foot hard when we get in possession. But we're going to play without the ball, and we're going to make it... You're going to let them have the ball there, but you're going to have to press them at certain times. Starman, I think Mane's their best player, but I think the star man's probably going to be Mo Salah. He struggled against United in the past, but he's definitely going to be up for playing against us this weekend. Whether it's Shaw or Tellez, they're going to have a very important task to coordinate with Harry Maguire and make sure that the threat that Salah poses is nullified. This season, Salah's been directly involved in 21 goals in 25 games in all comps, scoring 17 and registering 4 assists. He's also scored double the number of goals that any other Liverpool player this term and averages a strike every 117 minutes. Creatively, only Andy Robertson has assisted more times with 5 and created more chances, 38, than Salah with 33 among Liverpool this season. Before I get into my United team, quick message from today's sponsor, which is SportsBroker. So SportsBroker is a new football gaming app that allows you to buy virtual shares in football teams. Use your football knowledge to buy and sell shares and obviously sell them for a higher price. Prices do change based on how well your team performs, and SportsBroker take into account more than just the final score, with everything from possession to shots, corners, cards, goals obviously have a massive impact. So even if your team loses, there is a chance that you can benefit from any positives in your team's performance. Now, last week we said United. I'm probably always going to back United, but you would have made money if you did, because the price went up by 2.9%. I still think they're really undervalued. So I still think there's a lot of time for you to get. Considering we're top of the league, we are not highly priced in the slightest. If we can get a result against Liverpool, then we've got Fulham and Sheffield United. I still think that even with let's be honest, a good chance that we lose this weekend, longer term, the price is going to increase. West Ham, they got a good run of fixtures coming up, so I would say let's look at West Ham. I think they're undervalued. They went up a bit recently after beating Everton in their most recent game. They've now got Burnley and West Brom at home. They're going to be clear favourites to get both wins and probably put in good performances. Leeds, after they're getting pumped by Spurs 3-0 in their most recent league game, their price went down to 6.19. And I think that price is going to go straight back up because they've got some really favourable fixtures, and Leeds put in lots of shots and they score lots of goals. So Southampton, Brighton, Newcastle coming up for Leeds. I think they're probably undervalued as well. Sheffield United. Now, I did say they might get a win against Newcastle last week, and they did. But now they've got 3 really tough fixtures. Spurs, United and City. So let's avoid Sheffield United. Newcastle, they haven't won in their last 6 games. They lost to rock bottom Sheffield United in the week. Their price is likely to go down even more as they've got Arsenal and Villa coming up, and then they play Leeds. So I wouldn't be looking anywhere near Newcastle. And also Burnley. Last preview I said avoid Burnley. They lost against United and they've gone down in price to 3.70. They're probably also going to go down even more because they've now got Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, City coming up. So look to avoid those. Like I said, when you're buying and selling virtual shares, SportsBroker provides you with all the live stats. You get your own portfolio showing your profit, loss, and equity from the trades. And also, they've extended the first trade trial. So you can get £100 back if you lose money on your first trade. If the team drops in value, you can play straight away by downloading the app via iOS or for Android, or you can check out their website. It is UK only, but it is 18 and over, and always play responsibly. Like I said, check the link in the description. Right then, this is my Manchester United 11 to face off against Liverpool. And I'm going for the win, right? But I will settle for a draw. I'm going with Big Dave in net. Back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Bay, Maguire and Telles, because I think set pieces are going to be absolutely vital for us. Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Bruno make up a midfield diamond with Rashford and Cavani up front. Now, where can United exploit? Wide areas. The reason why Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson are so fruitful and productive is because they're basically played like wide midfielders. They're given free rein to just bomb up and down the touchline, and it's mostly up and not so much down, and try and create chances for Liverpool. That's where all of their chances come from. With 38 chances and 27 chances, they're ranked first and third respectively in terms of chances created for Liverpool this season. Klopp realistically utilises them as overlapping on the wingers, which sees Salah and Mane go a lot more narrow. United need to start with pace on the wings and massively play on the counter to exploit the spaces that both of these fullbacks do leave. Trent is the one for me that's defensively suspect. He's the one that you can target. I think Marcus Rashford's had the beating of him time and time again when they've played, and I would love to see Marcus pull off to the left a little bit into the space in behind Trent, getting back on that left-hand side where he's the most deadly, and see if he can either create chances for himself or link up with Cavani and start getting chances off. If we go with a forward three, it actually wouldn't be the worst idea to start Dan James on one side and Marcus on the other and just absolutely terrorise them with the pace. You do two things by doing that. One, you exploit their major weakness. But if they have to deal with you in any way, shape or form, and Klopp will often substitute Milner in for Alexander-Arnold because of how defensively fragile he is, it also nullifies their attack to a certain degree. So this is where Manchester United have to focus all of our energies. I like the diamond because it allows us to be strong through the centre, and it allows people to have very, very specific jobs. Fred and McTominay, we're not asking these guys to create Paul Scholes their 60-yard passes into a sixpence. We're saying work rate is the name of the game. I want you guys to work. I want you to split. Fred go and back up Tellez and make sure that he's not getting overrun. McTominay go back up Wan-Bissaka, make sure he's not getting overrun. Win the ball, find Pogba. That should be the only roles that they're asked to produce. Quick ball into Pogba. Pogba can't mess around with it whatsoever. He's got to find Bruno, find Rashford, find Cavani, find spaces in behind this Liverpool team. They are beatable, but they're very, very good. The way United have lined up in the past, we've hurt them, and I would love for us to turn up here, go and put 2 goals past them, and then hold on for a massive, massive victory. I just don't know how it's going to go down. They are a good side. Their strengths and weaknesses line up quite well with our strengths and weaknesses, but we could also go here and get absolutely tatered. United have not looked unbeatable, even though we've managed to put together quite a decent run. We just need to go and see how we can get in and amongst them, because when they're off the game, they're really off the game, and you've got to hope that you hit them on an off game, because if they're on it proper, they are going to be a nightmare for us to deal with. That's what I think in terms of the 11 anyway. I also wouldn't be upset or shocked to see a back three in this scenario, with potentially Luke Shaw coming in alongside Maguire there, and forcing Wan-Bissaka and Tellez up a little bit, or even just forcing them wider and going a little bit flatter to make sure that we've got 2 men to be able to deal with the absolute deadly threats that you're going to get from Mane and from Salah. And then you've got the same potential of threat going forward with Bruno, Rashford and Cavani. If you can turn around Fabinho and you can turn around Jordan Henderson, there is no danger whatsoever. And this is the kind of game where Cavani's aerial threat, Cavani's movement, coming up against 2 non-natural, non-experienced midfielders playing centre-half, is where United can absolutely take the piss. And United should set up to win this, but settle for a draw if that's all we can come out with this. And whether that's setting up, and some people think that playing on the counter and all that lot isn't setting up to win it. Of course it's setting up to win it. It's setting up to exploit their weaknesses, which is how to win this. Very often you see Jose set up to not lose these games. Well, I think Ollie comes into these with an idea of how to win these games. So that's what I think it's going to go down like. You guys let me know in the comments. Give us your score predictions. Who's going to be the United player that Liverpool needs to look out for? For me, I think it's Marcus Rashford. But go and check out SportsBroker as well. As I said, they're supporting me for the whole of this month. Go support them as well. Show them a little bit of love. Link for that will be in the description. And I'll see you tomorrow for the watch along. Cannot wait. Up the Reds.